issued a severe thunderstorm warning for Phoenix. 12 News weather watcher Mary Vorosky, she sent us this video of hail that she got today at McDowell Mountain Ranch in Scottsdale, and that is a lot of hail, almost looking like dime size, at least right there. We got more video sent in by another 12 News weather watcher who saw a whole lot of rain happening near 51st Avenue and Peoria. This is also some more video that we got in Tempe, a lot of heavy rain coming down there. Meteorologist Crystal Long is standing by right now with your weather impact alert forecast. And Crystal, a lot of areas still getting hit right now. In fact, on the way to the studio, we just saw rain out in downtown Phoenix coming down strong.
Yeah, let's jump right to the radar right now because there has been an eruption of strong and severe storms that are banging into the valley right now. In fact, you're watching this live. See that flickering? Right there, a severe thunderstorm warning is getting activated right now. This looks like it's going to be looping in the East Valley, straight up through Scottsdale for this powerful storm that is putting out strong winds. There's been 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts reported with some of these severe storms. Also, variety of hail has been getting knocked out of these storms as well. So they are heavy duty and they are drenching downpours. That has also triggered some flash flood warnings you could see there boxed in red. So the valley under the gun right now for the top threats of damaging winds, large hail, as well as flooding. This is the time to stay indoors as these storms continue to strike the valley. Zooming things out a little bit further, you can see we're action packed out to the east, down towards the south. So we got to keep our eye to the sky throughout the afternoon as things continue to blow up statewide. We have a number of storms here scattered across the state, smothering from the lower deserts to the mountains, bringing all of those weather impacts of the heavy rain that's promoting that flash flooding, the hail, the damaging winds. So all of those hazards we have to have a heads up for the rest of today. We're going big on the monsoon meter here. We only have 4 more days left of the season. It's going out with a bang, certainly trying to catch up with some of these rainfall totals for sure. But unfortunately, we're throwing all those other threats into the ring. And that top threat, in addition to that flooding, is also that severe side that some of these storms with more oomph are bringing on. And this is the bullseye for a marginal to slight risk for severe storms. And of course, you could see there's already some severe storms that are hitting up the valley at the moment. But this big box you see here is that target zone as we continue to ignite and trigger these thunderstorms throughout the afternoon and evening. So the watch is that heads up. This is the zone to really watch out for. And then these smaller warnings is where we actually have a severe thunderstorm in progress right now pouncing on us, as well as a flash flood warning you could see in red. That is where flooding is happening right now. And it's kind of hard to see because we have so many alerts stacked one on top of the other. But underneath this big old severe thunderstorm watch is a flash flood watch. So we have just a number of those threats that we continue to get tangled up in. And watch as we roll forward on your radar. You're going to see the valley remains tangled up in that commotion through about 3 o'clock. Then we could get a breather and then maybe one last shot of some showers and storms here as we approach that dinner time hour. Meantime, the storms continue to swarm the mountains, kind of reset that game tape for us as we head into tomorrow. Some more showers and storms could swing on through. And then we see another big flare up on Saturday, especially in the mountains with the most rowdiness with those storms. And then that drier air starts to set in Sunday. So really, Tram, right now is game on for some of the strongest storms that we're expecting here.
Yeah, there's been a lot of dark clouds. The West Valley, we know, getting hit really hard. We saw the rain in downtown Phoenix. And obviously, as you just explained through the radar, we saw a lot of activity happening in the North Valley. We're going to see you back here at 12:52 for another 12 News update on TV. But right now, we're going to continue more online and on 12 Plus. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Tram. Thanks so much for joining us on 12 Plus as well as on 12news.com. We want to check in right now with Jade Cunningham, who is live on 99th Avenue and Grand. That's where a lot of weather activity had hit earlier. How's it looking now, Jade?
Hey, good afternoon, Trem. Yeah, so we are in Sun City, 99th Avenue and Grand. We're just to the north of it. It's just right down our way. You can see the sun is out. But the aftermath of the storms here, it shows that they were hit pretty good. I want to take a look. So this is 99th Avenue. You can see just all the dirt and rocks and sand that are covering the lanes of traffic. And then you can see that a lot of the road here is still very wet. On the other side, there is definitely some pooling, cars having to go through. The water has gone down significantly. We've been out here now for maybe 20 or so minutes. And yeah, the water's gone down, which is definitely some good news, because earlier we were getting reports of vehicles possibly getting stuck. You can see that the drainage canals, that the water is moving pretty good in those, and the water is definitely elevated as well. Now, as soon as I got here, I actually spoke with someone who says he got stuck in this area. He says that at the time it was raining really, really hard, downpour, large drops, that actually there was some hail as well. He saw the water on the road. He thought maybe it wasn't that bad, that he could just drive through. Unfortunately, though, the water got in his vehicle and he got stuck and his car stopped working. So he said the message of the day was to definitely turn around when you see water on the road. And we have said that time and time again. If you do see water on the road, you don't want to play with it. You just want to turn around and go the other way and detour. Cars right now definitely slowing down in this area, obviously with all the debris on the roadway and the water on the roadway. The good news is that for now the sun is out, so hopefully roads and conditions will start to improve a little bit, at least in this area, and hopefully the rain will kind of stay away for the rest of the day. But we obviously are going to be keeping an eye on that. We're going to be keeping our eyes on this to the sky, on the forecast, so we can stay with 12 News for the latest. Tram?
Yeah, a lot better than it was just at least an hour ago, Jade. We can still see that muddy mess right behind you. And all that water, like in the canals right there in that drain, that looks like it could be a couple of feet.
Oh, yeah, you know, actually, I wish I would have paid closer attention. When I first got out here, there's a drainage canal that actually has a measurement, like kind of, I want to call it a ruler. It's not a ruler, but it has the numbers showing the depth of the water. I wish I would have taken a closer look at that driving by, because I was going too fast. But I mean, yeah, this water, it's moving and it's elevated. So I would say it's definitely several feet for sure. But like I said, you know, the rain has stopped, so hopefully it'll get a chance to kind of, you know, dry up here, and hopefully things will kind of clear up this way. But I will say too that obviously there was a lot of water on the roadway. You can see that these drainage canals are doing what they're supposed to be doing. That water from the roadway is now draining into that drainage canal, which is clearing the road. So that's definitely some good news as well.
Almost, Jade, it looks like that could possibly be a utility truck right there that our cameras are on right now. I did hear of maybe possibly some reports of people having some power outages. Do you know anything about that?
We have heard reports of power outages. I did notice that truck, and there is a utility worker kind of walking around. It's unclear, though, if that's related to this. I can tell you that we at 99th Avenue in Grand, which again is not far from where we are, the lights are on, they're working. So I don't know, again, if this is related to the weather that we're seeing here, and maybe these homes are without power. That's going to take a little bit more investigation, so we'll work on that and get back with you on that.
Okay, hopefully no one lost any power, but clearly, man, you can see how messy that is and how much of that dirt just cascaded onto the roadway there. All right, Jade, stay safe out there. We're glad there's some sunshine and that they're drying out just a little bit. But Crystal, we want to check back in with you once again. I mean, that radar is so active. We've got a number of watches and warnings in effect right now.
Oh, yeah, it seems like by the minute we're tracking changes on the Valley radar. So let's get you up to speed here now. We have a brand new dust storm warning that just got triggered as I stepped on up to the green screen here. So this is one of those days where you have to stay storm savvy. It keeps changing in a snap of a finger. And there's a mishmash of alerts happening here. In addition to that dust storm warning, which is kind of the least of our problems, we have a severe thunderstorm warning that's bringing on damaging winds as well as damaging hail and that flash flooding. And it's really important to remember, as you saw in Jade's live shot, it doesn't have to be currently raining overhead for you to encounter a flooded roadway. So it's incredibly dangerous. Don't let your guard down. There's going to be a number of flooded roads and washes across the valley. As you could see, all of these alerts smothering and covering the area. Meantime, the lightning strike, too, is another threat. So we have a number of hazards hitting us up here across the valley, and it just keeps on changing as more storms flare up around the area. I zoom things out, and every time I zoom out on the radar, we're going to fill it in with even more storms, many of them strong, some of them at severe limits. So some of these storms just have that extra oomph that's bringing on the damaging and dangerous conditions. Looks like a flood advisory also got activated. I mean, it is just going to keep popping off here minute by minute. And as we zoom things out now to include the entire state, this commotion carries on straight on up through northern Arizona and stretches out into eastern Arizona, down towards southeastern Arizona as well. We're also seeing those storms getting rowdy with the lightning bolts, the winds, and the downpours. And it's because these storms are just waterlogged. They're super soakers and they're getting unzipped and they are pouring out so quickly in a snap of a finger. That's what's promoting that flash flooding. And keep in mind, in addition to a lot of pavement, especially that we have here in the valley, our soil kind of acts just as water resistant as pavement. So it doesn't take much rainfall, and think of it coming out just so quickly in a blink of an eye. That's what's sending that water rushing and turning it into that flash flooding threat. But we also have those damaging winds that are punching some 60 miles an hour in many of the storms that have been tagged with the severe warning. So expect a lot of commotion here from northern Arizona through the valley to rim country, the White Mountains, and southeastern Arizona throughout the PM hours. This is going to be the bullseye for those big storms to blow up on us that bring on those severe winds, hail. And, you know, even in the high country, can't totally rule out that a storm might just have enough fierceness to twist up a tornado. We have a severe storm watch, this big old box here. That's a heads up that that's the zone we're really going to focus in on. And then where we have this warning, that's where that severe storm is currently in progress. We also have those flood warnings in progress, and then slid underneath that is a flash flood watch, which is another, again, just really watch that area, because that's where we're going to continue to set off these storms that are especially strong and even severe. Let's get Futurecast rolling so you can see the latest model that we're running in-house and how it handles the storms that we have on the map right now and where it predicts more are going to spring up on us. And you can see things are really going to be jumping to the north and the east of the valley. Once we get to mid-afternoon, we could still see some showers and storms swing by as we approach that dinner hour. Lots of storms will continue, though, in the mountains. And then as we reset things, kind of back to the old drawing board going on into your weekend, we could see some additional chances for showers and thunderstorms across the state, even including the valley, before drier air starts to kind of knock those chances off going into the second half of your weekend and early next week. This is what that rainfall footprint could look like, and no wonder this is the exact zone where we had that flood watch out, and we're already seeing those flash flood warnings as we're expecting the most rainfall to come gushing out of those super soaking storms. And it could take us beyond that inch mark easily. Generally speaking, for valley rain gauges, maybe we get another quarter of an inch or so. We've already collected some. Here's just one model's take on what we could be seeing the rest of this afternoon and evening added on top of what you've already got. And it seems so wild, right? Because we have these just ferocious storms in some neighborhoods, and then other spots, totally left empty-handed and they're seeing sunshine. It is truly hit and miss, but where you're getting hit, man, it's hard. Here's where we've seen the rain start to really add up in those gauges so far. West Valley, about 1/4 inch in Glendale, 1/3 inch in Surprise and Buckeye. Peoria, big winner here, over a 1/2 inch mark, more than 1 inch in Cave Creek. Scottsdale, near a 1/2 inch, a little bit of a spritz in Fountain Hills and Mesa, and still nothing measurable at the airport. However, it is raining right now. So the next time we talk again, I'll have an update for you and we will up those chances. We also have a number of storm reports that are going to be continuing to pile up here in this graphic. This is just our latest reports, and I just want to click on some of these live here for you so you could see what we're looking at here. Looks like golf ball sized hail leading to some dented cars there on Bell Road and the 101. Additional hail in that area. Some flooding reports. I know Jade was out there live as well with some flooding. Here we are not too far off from Sun City. Report of water rescue. So a lot going on. Also some big winds. Currently we're seeing some gusts here in the 20s in the valley, and temperatures are crashing down. You're noticing a big difference out there. It's 25 degrees cooler, Tram, than it was at the same time yesterday. So look at that. The bonus of the rainfall, 76 degrees in Phoenix.
All right, thank you so much for that, Crystal. And we've got live team coverage for you right now. We are giving you a live look from our weather tracker. They just got on the 51 going northbound, and you can see some pretty blue skies right there. When earlier we know that, as Crystal had just said, in the North Valley, they were getting slammed by a lot of rain and storms. Speaking of the storms, you can still see the remnants of it. This is Bell Road and the 51 from one of our ADOT cameras, and that's what we were talking about. Clearly, you can still see those storms hitting that area. A lot of those cars just driving pretty fast on the 51 right there and leaving a trail of rain behind it. But you can still see some of those drops there. Now we are giving you a look from our roof camera from downtown Phoenix with a straight view of Phoenix Sky Harbor there. You can see the control tower, and it almost looks like a little bit of wind has picked up. I want to bring in meteorologist Chris Dunn, who is also a pilot. Chris, earlier within, I would say, the last hour and a half or so, we got reports that there was a ground stop at Sky Harbor.
Right.
Explain exactly what that is, because I think a lot of people think ground stop and everything is halted.
Right, and that's not the case. And we hear that a lot when we have these storms around. There's a ground stop at Sky Harbor. That just means that the FAA says, hey, if you're in an airplane in Denver, San Francisco, LA, and you're planning to come to Phoenix, we have a lot of weather concerns here, and we don't want you up in the air not able to land, because they can't handle the volume of traffic on stormy days that they can during when the weather is good. So,
and there was also lightning reported too.
Well, yes, that is somewhat of a factor, more so for the ground crews. And that's a little bit different than the folks that are on the ground. You see the baggage handlers and the fueling crews. Those are handled by the individual airlines and the contractors that are on the ground. And typically, if there's lightning around, they pull them inside for safety reasons and for good measure. So that's not a ground stop. That is just the ground crews being safe and pulling everybody in. You can still land an airplane. You can still take off an airplane when there is technically a ground stop. But that's just preventing other airplanes from coming in here and overwhelming the system, or perhaps having to hold and then using up their fuel and then diverting elsewhere.
So is it more so that the ground stop is happening at other airports so that they don't land at Sky Harbor because there's so much weather activity?
Right. And there's also something called an edict, which is expect delay in clearance time. So if you're planning to take off, say, at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and, oh, no, it's stormy here, we're going to delay that a little bit. You can plan for your departure at 2 o'clock. And I'm sure if you fly a lot, you've probably encountered this before, where the pilot comes on and said, oh, well, sorry, folks, we can't take off until another half hour. We're just being delayed because of weather in Phoenix. So that is happening across the system. Typically, regionally, a flight from New York or Boston might not have that restriction because a lot of time is going to pass, obviously, by the time they get here.
Okay, that's so interesting. Thank you for that clarification and that explainer. All right, well, obviously, we are going to continue with our live weather coverage coming up at near the top of the hour. Oh, but before we go, let's show you another live look right here from our weather tracker.
They're on the 51, right? They were heading up to that area with a lot of the heavy rain.
Yeah, heading up the 51. I'm trying to make out the road signs right there of exactly where they could be. It looks like
Avenue.
Highland. Okay, got it. So
Camelback.
that's kind of central Phoenix here. Highland and Camelback Road. And you can see a lot of heavy traffic building at 1242, surprisingly. But hopefully there's no accidents on the roadways up there. But further north, this is Bell Road off the 51, and you can see just the darker clouds and all that rain, even not only just from the cars, but also just the rain from the camera view right there from one of our ADOT cameras. But obviously that area is getting hit, one of the hardest hit areas in the valley.
Yeah, you know, a lot of the computer models, the simulations yesterday and the day before were pointing towards the East Valley. So a little bit surprising that areas to the north and the west side really getting it heavy this morning along the Loop 303, say from Buckeye to Surprise and up towards Wickenburg.
And this is really heavy here because this is near the 101 in Cave Creek. This is also North Phoenix for you.
Yep.
And you can see how slow those cars are coming. Usually in a situation like this, when the cars are going so slow, there's a whole lot of rain going on.
And the setup is going to continue for this chance of these stronger storms around with some hail that could do some damage. And in fact, the Storm Prediction Center has kind of, it's a rare thing for us to get a severe thunderstorm watch. If you're from other parts of the country, you think no big deal, we get those all the time. But here in Arizona, we average only about 2 or 3 of these a year.
Oh, wow.
So this type of a setup for strong storms, yeah, it's not that common. And I can only remember a couple of times us being under a severe thunderstorm watch. And that just means that's a heads up.
Yeah.
All the ingredients are here for really strong storms that can produce gusty, damaging winds and the size of hail that can damage cars and windows and anything else that's outside. Maybe if you have a backyard umbrella or something like that.
Oh, be careful. Tie that down or take it down. Yeah, exactly.
Well, and also with the gusty wind, you don't want that umbrella to end up in your neighbor's backyard.
Like a torpedo.
Yeah.
Exactly. And we just gave you a live look right there, the 51 going northbound into the thick of it all, where there's a lot of storms happening in the Scottsdale, North Phoenix area. This is a live look from our downtown roof camera. And look at the contrast right there, how dark the skies are up above and then the clear blue skies down below. Another look right here off of Bell Road and the 51. And we'll have much more coming up close to 1 o'clock. Stay with us, everyone.
go to meteorologist